Less than 4 months to the general election, attention has shifted to presidential contenders keen on crafting pre-election alliances to show up their chances in the Kibaki succession contest. Sources close to two presidential contenders, Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto, confide that a deal is almost done in which they will approach the election on a joint ticket, with Kenyatta being the presidential candidate and Ruto as his running mate. The URP team strategically took its weekend campaigns to Kericho, Bomet and Nandi counties to sell their alliance and test the waters ahead of its formal launch at Uhuru Park on December 4th.
Wangapi wanaunga mkono Mheshimiwa Ruto aongee na Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta?
And as the URP team roots for a Kenyatta-Ruto alliance, Prime Minister Raila Odinga has intensified his forays in Rift Valley, and particularly among the Kalenjin community that voted for him almost to a man during the 2007 presidential poll, whose outcome was contested.
Mimi ni binadamu. Naomba msamaha. Naomba msamaha.
Odinga even apologizing for any mistakes he may have committed against the community that led to an acrimonious fallout with Ruto, leaving the orange split.
Na tunawaambia wale wenzetu ambao wanatafuta msamaha, tunawasamehe. But we are also equally telling them we are not prepared to gamble again.
Analysts, however, say Odinga could capitalize on the resistance that the Kenyatta-Ruto alliance may be met with in the Kalenjin community due to long-standing issues such as land that may not have been dealt with conclusively.
Mimi nilikuwa najulikana, mimi ni Arab Bay. Mnipatie mimi jina Arab Bay. Unataka kutoa? Si mimi ni Arab Bay.
The ODM party leader is expected in Eldoret town Monday for a meeting with Kalenjin community elders, a week after a similar session with elders and youth leaders in Nakuru County.
So Raila must also be backing on some of those URP supporters, or let me say some of the Kalenjins in the Rift Valley that might not be as comfortable with the TNA-URP alliance. And he might be saying that maybe I might just glean from this.
The Prime Minister is also reaching out to Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka to add up the political arithmetic. Political observers say the activities and utterances of Musyoka's right-hand man, Kangundo MP Johnson Muthama, are not a coincidence, even though the Vice President has insisted that Muthama was not working on his behalf. What then are Musyoka's options amid perceptions that he was being edged out of the Ruto-Kenyatta Wamalwa political matrix, with his position seemingly being taken by his key rival in the Ukambani political supremacy duel and NAC presidential aspirant Charity Ngilu?
And his options are, he either decides to go in bed with ODM, as has been said and as has been discussed in some quarters, or he decides to form a third force and he goes alone. And I believe that if he goes alone, he might want to coalesce a few weak parties and candidates that don't want to align themselves either to ODM or TNA. And then he just builds that one up and decides to form enter into negotiations after the elections and see whether he can find his space within the next government.
Unlike past pre-election deals that had many positions to dangle, the new system of government has fewer slots to bargain on. However, analysts say it will take intricate negotiations and balancing to reach a consensus. And in the case of Kenyatta and Ruto, their impending trials at the Hague-based International Criminal Court will be at the heart of the pre-election deals they will enter into.
But even if they're not going to run, they come in with big numbers. And whoever they endorse to be able to run and represent them is going to be a major force to reckon with.
UDF presidential contender Musalia Mudavadi is also being linked with the Ruto-Kenyatta Kalonzo Ngilu Wamalwa alliance to up their chances of beating the Prime Minister to the finish line in the first round. For now, the haggling continues as each of the presidential contenders in the pre-election talks tries to squeeze maximum returns from the alliances they will enter into. Francis Gachuri, Sunday Live.